Hey Facebook world, welcome to Bridging the Gap with Applied Software. I'm your host, Todd Weyandt. This is the show where we bring you industry experts from the AEC and the manufacturing world to discuss trends, some tips and tricks, and you can get your questions answered right here. Please feel free to interact with us throughout this video by either liking the video, or you can place any comments and questions in the comment section of this video, and we'll be addressing those a little bit later. To let us know anything that you're thinking while this video is going on. Today we're specifically focusing in on BIM, or Building Information Modeling Coordination, and most AEC firms are now required to coordinate their building prior to construction. Yet many complain about not having the needed skilled BIM coordinator in-house. So what are these AEC firms supposed to be doing? And this dilemma is one of the main issues that we're going to be tackling today, of how can AEC firms get that competitive advantage to really compete with the leg up. And to answer that question and a lot more questions, please join me in welcoming Michael Reuter again back to our show. And he is our in-house BIM coordination expert here at Applied Software. So welcome back, Michael.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So can you describe a bit more about the background on the need for BIM coordination in the AEC world?
Yeah, so first I'll start off with a little bit of my background. Okay, so I started off, I was a BIM coordinator right out of college with Walsh Construction. I worked in the Carolinas for them, and I was the only one that they had on staff. So the first project that I was on, nobody on the project had ever done BIM before. So there was a lot of, no one really knew what was expected of me. I had a boss, but he was in Chicago, so he was not very easy to get a hold of. So it was scary, but it was exciting at the same time, because I had autonomy. But then at the same time, I felt like I was out there on an island, and I didn't have someone like a shoulder to cry on, I guess you could say. So to answer your question, basically, that's kind of what I see the small and mid-sized companies are really having issues with today. They're having issues with the same thing. Like they need help finding a good BIM person, and then when they find him, they need help training him. And if they've got both of those squared away, they still need help with validating their workflow. Like, is it going to make money for them? How? So those are kind of the things that are really concerning the firms that I see today, especially mid to mid-sized ones.
Gotcha. So what are some of the main benefits of a BIM coordinator?
Okay, so the very first thing that I was told by my project manager on my first job was, the goal for the BIM coordinator is the 80-20 rule. You need to find 80% of the design and constructability problems in your model before you even step foot on the site. So if I do that, then as a BIM coordinator, I was very successful. But basically, what a BIM coordinator is also going to do is he's going to allow you to bid on larger, more complicated projects, things like data centers or hospitals, or large public projects. Okay, also things that have a higher level of development. They're going to really open those up for the smaller guys. So that's what a BIM coordinator is going to really help you with.
Gotcha. So I know BIM coordination, it really involves more than just clicking that easy button and watching the computer do all the issue identification for you. It's a workflow that requires the team approach really coming together and getting that right preparation right from the beginning. So what are a couple of kind of quick starting points that people should be thinking about when setting up their strategy?
Yeah, so what you really need to kind of focus on is, you need to set up a BIM execution plan, first of all. And so what that's going to entail is, okay, what are you going to use? Are you going to use BIM 360? Are you going to use Navisworks? Or are you going to use some kind of combination of the two? You need to, decide how you're going to model it. Are you going to model it by the floor plan, or are you going to have a comprehensive model with everything inside of it? So it all depends on what kind of project you're doing, based on how you decide that. Other things, you need to figure out when the files are due, when you're going to have your meeting, your color and naming conventions. You're going to need to set up your your model so that you have CAD backgrounds ready, and then you need to have a plan for how you're going to manage your clashes, who you're going to send them to, and then how are you going to manage the model after coordination. And that's something that people don't really think about. Like, are we going to use this in the field, for quality control? Are we going to use this? Is the owner going to use it for owner takeover or for facility management later on? So things like that. And so basically, the whole idea is you discuss all this stuff, you put it in the BIM execution plan, and then you review it during the kickoff meeting.
Gotcha. So you were mentioning managing the data. Are there any tools available to help you manage that data?
Yeah. So, I mentioned Navisworks and BIM 360 before. Those are pretty much the industry standard. Those are Autodesk products. And so, if you're looking for software, that's what you need to use. Like, everybody's either using Navisworks, BIM 360 Glue, or some combination of the two.
Gotcha.
Okay. But, if you're looking for, other resources, like if you're looking for help, then I'm your guy. Okay, so what we can do, we can train your team how to do BIM coordination. We can help you with your workflows, either create them or improve them, and then we can also provide mentorship. That's basically what we do.
Gotcha. And if you're just tuning in with us, this is Bridging the Gap with Applied Software. Welcome to the show. We're talking about BIM coordination right now with Michael Reuter, our in-house BIM coordination expert here at Applied Software. So continuing on, it's my understanding that after this early preparation of issue identification has been done, the BIM team meets, they review all the issues. Are there any certain tips that you can give to make those meetings a bit more productive?
Yeah, so what I always did is I coordinated the day before. I coordinated everything the day before. So I got all of my files 2 days before. So, I had 24 hours to basically get ready for my meeting that day. So what I did was I found all relevant clashes. And, the most important thing that you can do, like you said, Navisworks or Glue, you click that button and it finds all the clashes, right? But the most important thing is critical thinking. Okay, so it's not just, okay, here's all these 10,000 clashes. It's where are they? How do they interact with the rest of the model? What is this change? What are the consequences of this change, moving this from this place to that place? So my job is to think critically and then make suggestions on that so that I can help the subcontractors out and very quickly and easily, move coordination along. So my meeting agenda was typically something like this. It was like, first thing that we did was we discussed major issues, and those major issues are basically like things that would be RFIs or things that 3 or 4 trades all came together and hit. Gotcha. So things that I couldn't figure out just by looking or from my experience. Then what I would do is I would individually go over everybody's clashes, and we would discuss them. And the whole I didn't want to have my people, my modelers, they didn't have to be at the meeting. If they had to be on the phone call, but if they could use the time, maybe during their off time to actually be working through their clashes on their own, then that was something that I really liked because it sped things up. So I encouraged that. And then finally, the last thing that I did, which a lot of companies don't do and a lot of design teams don't participate with, is you want to have the last 10 or 15 minutes of your meeting to be time for to review the RFIs and the major issues, so that when those RFIs come in, that the design team isn't caught blindsided by them. So that's how you spend the last couple of minutes of them with them. But anyway, hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do smaller firms that they may not have the resources to go out and hire an in-house BIM coordinator, or they don't have the current skill set in their workforce, how do they get into the game?
Okay, so there's really two ways you can do it. Okay, so you can either pick a BIM champion and kind of train them up, or you can outsource it. Okay, so we'll kind of go over both of those. So the first option is you pick a BIM champion, someone that you think can handle the workload, can learn something new, and can think quickly on their feet. You pick that person, and then you have us train them. And basically what we'll do is we'll teach them how to do BIM coordination. Okay, so that's the first option. You pick a BIM champion, and we train them up. The second option is maybe this is just a one-off project, so you need to outsource it. So again, you hire us. You let me do the BIM coordination for you, and so I'll do the BIM execution plan. I'll set up the model. We'll create a schedule. We'll do everything for you. We'll run the coordination. So that's the other option. And so like the really kind of important figure to keep in mind is somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000. Okay, so a good a seasoned BIM coordinator is probably going to cost more than $75,000, but one right out of school, that's probably what he's going to cost you. So if you're planning on doing multiple projects, or you're planning on really jumping into BIM, then maybe the mentorship way is the way to go. But if this is just one project that has a super complicated deliverable, maybe just outsourcing it is the way to go. So it's all up to you.
Gotcha. So let's say they decide to do the BIM champion. Can you kind of speak to the process of actually training this BIM coordinator?
Yeah, so we've done this a bunch of times. It's basically a 4 to 6 week process, okay? And the what we do is it's like a 4 process thing, I guess. I demo the workflow. I train them on the workflow. I delegate responsibilities, and then I act as a mentor. So, all the way throughout that process, through that 4 to 6 week period, basically we'll be working, about a day to a day and a half a week together, where we're building up confidence and with the process, so that they can basically take over for it very quickly. And so what they'll learn is they'll learn how to set up a model. They'll learn how to run clash coordination, how to run a meeting, how to finish out the job, close it out. So that's basically what they'll learn.
Gotcha. Very cool. So what are some different things that people can be asking themselves if this would be a good fit for them?
Okay, so I've kind of got these written down here because there was a whole bunch of them that I had on my mind, and I didn't want to forget any of them. So first, you need to, one of the questions you need to ask yourself: did you miss out on a bid because you didn't have BIM coordination? Okay, do you need help ramping up? Do you need help finding somebody? Do you need to execute layout coordination with like a total station or something like that on your project? Or is there even like just a very heavy development, crazy deliverable on your project? Or do you want to supplement or improve upon your workflows? If those are yeses, then you need to talk to us.
Gotcha. Very nice. So welcome if you're just joining us. This is Bridging the Gap with Applied Software. We're talking about BIM coordination today with our in-house expert, Michael. So shifting topics a little bit, Autodesk BIM 360, that platform just kind of rolled out some new updates. Can you kind of speak to a high level of what those updates are? Yeah,
so there's been a whole lot. If you look at what we saw at AU in November or December, there was we just had basically the document management module in the new BIM 360. And before I really go with what's new, I guess I'll say first and foremost, like the things that you're using now: glue, field, maybe plan, ops. Those things they're perfectly viable. They're not going away. But what they are doing is the plan is everything's kind of coming up under its own umbrella. Everything is going to be completely and fully integrated. And so if you've kind of seen that this week, that's kind of become fully realized. So things like model coordination and model collaboration. So, I guess to speak back on what they used to be, there's there's glue functionality, and then there's also collaboration forever in BIM 360 team functionality that are currently in with BIM 360. Okay, so you can model and design up there, and basically the functionality is pretty seamless. See, there's also field management that just came out. So field management. So if you want to run and create checklists digitally if you want to manage the quality control and the punch list process with issues, or if you want to digitize your daily reports, then field management is the module that you guys need to use. Okay, then there's also project management. So if you need to manage your RFIs, your submittals, then that's you can do that also with BIM 360. There's also, of course, since day one, there's been document management. So that's just, you can manage your files all on there, and basically that's kind of the hub for everything. Everything kind of rolls out of document management, and it matches with everything else. Two cool things that I actually just saw this week were the Insight, which is basically just like reporting. So there's reporting functionality, and then there's also a project homepage that has links on it, so you can actually see, the most up-to-date, RFIs or issues or whatever that were just run. You can click on them, and it'll take you right to it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's definitely a whole lot better than it was in BIM 360 Field. So those are the the high-level updates.
Very cool. Great. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more about those updates in detail, we're actually having a webinar tomorrow, and we'll post that registration link here in the comment section. So if you're interested, click on that registration link and sign up. It's at 12:30 Eastern Time tomorrow, April 12th. So, Michael, thanks so much for joining us today. This was a lot of really great information, and I hope those of you watching also found it really useful, and you got a little bit of tidbits in there for you in BIM coordination. If you're interested in learning more about our products or any of our services, you can visit ASTI.com. We'll also include that link in the comment section as well for you to click on. And until next time, which is going to be April 18th, that's next Wednesday at 11 a.m., we're going to be talking about BIM adoption and some best practices around BIM. We'd love to have you guys join us back again for that episode. And we'd also love to hear from you about future topics that you would like to listen to and to hear from us. So if you have any ideas on that, you can email info@asti.com, and we will make sure to include those in the program as we continue on Bridging the Gap. So until next time, I'm Todd Weyandt. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Bridging the Gap. Have a good day.